going on, everybody? It's Chef Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal, and I am joined, although you wouldn't know it by looking at our screen, I am joined by, there we go, joined by Sean Reider. Sean!
I like the omniscient voice over the court. I kind of like that. Hello, you are joined by nobody.
You are looking live. So I am 76 minutes away from tip-off in the pit between the UNM Lovo men's basketball team and the Division II New Mexico Highlands Cowboys, who are certainly looking for an upset. And that would be a big surprise if they were to pull that off. This is a 0-7 New Mexico Highlands team. There we go.
How many guys on the roster? How many guys on the roster?
Is it still 40 men on the roster, I believe? So, yeah, I think they still have about 40 guys on the roster. I don't think it's quite 40 anymore. A couple guys aren't on it anymore, but I think it's damn near 40 if it's not. So, Sean, though, you're not here, obviously.
No.
You are at home. You're working hard, I'm sure. Why don't you tell everybody kind of what you're working on and have at it?
Yeah, writing a story. I'm sure if you are watching the show, you saw the news from yesterday. New Mexico and Jason Eck have signed a new 5-year deal. They actually signed it on Tuesday and Wednesday of last week. All three parties had signed the deal. So that's a massive relief, I know, for a lot of fans that wanted to keep Eck and wanted to keep things going, that it wouldn't be a one and done. And we can pretty much effectively say that it will not be a one and done. He had a press conference today with Fernando Lovo. They talked about, the contract and, decisions to stay and all that as well, and got some pretty good stuff out of that. And then also, talk a little bit about, of course, UNM getting left out of the Mountain West Championship, and got some reactions there. And, so plenty to share on that front. Richie, don't want to ignore you too long. I'm glad you can finally watch. Grammar is frozen on my screen. I wonder what's going on here. Well, the last time this happened, Grammar's internet was out. So I'm just going to keep talking for now. We've not gotten a text from him, but it's a 5-year deal. In his first year, on the contract they had previously, this year he was set to make, and he did make $1.15 million. Now he'll be making $1.55 million in 2026, and then $1.65 in 2027, $1.75 in 2028, $1.85 in 2029, and $1.95 in 2030. So it'll average about $1.75 over the life of the deal. Gets very close to obviously to $2 million, which is kind of a number that Grammar and I threw out in the past. Are you here? Have you been here?
I am. Yeah, the pit Wi-Fi went down on me, and now I'm on my hotspot on my phone. But it said your internet connection at the source went down. So if you're coming,
I'm glad I kept talking. I was running through, just some of the contract figures. Starting at 1.55 and then 1.95 in 2030, the final year of his deal. The buyout remains unchanged from the previous deal. I asked them a little bit about that today as well too. And then there's some pretty aggressive incentives in there. Previously, there were not aggressive. There were not incentives like based on regular season wins and stuff like that. Those are now all in there as well. You get $50K for 7 regular season wins, $100K for 8, $150K for 9, and then $200,000 on top of his other annual compensation for 10 regular season wins, and you get a $100,000 bonus for making the Mountain West Championship. So, all in all, what did you think of this contract in particular?
So the big thing that I was getting some people asking questions about on social yesterday was like buyout. Okay, so what changed, right? And on the one hand, I will tell you that nothing changed on the buyout really. It just kind of extended, which is a good sign.
It just reset the timeline, yeah.
It reset the timeline on the buyout, $4 million up until December 31st of this calendar year, or of 2026 rather. The contract actually starts January 1st through December 31st.
Yes.
Is the effective date, but usually in the second contract, like when a coach outperforms in that first year, when a coach does so well that they restructure after 1 year, and this has happened here at UNM in the past, usually that coach and that coach's agent leverages not only some more money and some more money for staff, but they leverage down their buyout because they want as much flexibility as possible because that's most advantageous for them. This buyout not changing is actually a good sign, I think, for UNM. I mean, there was one San Diego State fan, because of course a San Diego State fan would have problems with anything New Mexico does, but like one San Diego State fan was talking about how horrible a deal that was for UNM to not have increased the buyout. I don't know what second contract anywhere they're increasing buyouts. Coaches and agents who have the leverage in this game now, they don't increase buyouts so coaches are stuck. They decrease buyouts. So I do think it's a good buyout. As good as this was this year, it was still just 1 year, so you're not going to go over the top with spending more money than you know if you can make again next year. You got to replicate what you did this year, but also do it without so many discounted and giveaway tickets. You got to do it with making a little more revenue. Like, this is the start of something good, but it is only the start. Like, they have not yet banked a whole bunch of money that they're going to be able to pay this out with. So this is a good deal for Jason Eck and his staff, in that they're getting more money less than 1 calendar year removed from being an FCS coaching staff.
Yep.
And they are now an FBS coaching staff on contract number 2 already, with a raise and a lot of momentum recruiting wise. UNM got what they wanted in football being good for the first time in a long time, and not just good for the first time, but good in the sense that the community bought in for the first time in a long time, because the Davy Bowl games weren't getting crowds like this. The Davy year bowl game teams. So yeah, UNM got what it wanted. They got their guy. They retained a guy. When's the last time UNM retained somebody that was clearly on the market? It hasn't happened in a while. So good for UNM. Good for UNM, and good for Jason Eck, obviously.
I wanted to I'll add this too, because certainly, like, we've talked on the show, I know fans have had interest in all that too. Like, what job would he take? Like, what would he be interested in all that? We didn't get like specifics on that today, but I did ask, learning from my mistakes at the end of the Bronco era. But, he said on Friday that, that he hadn't talked to any suitors. He hadn't talked to any programs or search firms or whatever.
Right.
I inferred that those other parts, but he said he hadn't talked to anybody. I assume that's what that meant. And I asked him today, I was like, well, who did you how much interest did your representation kind of feel? And he said, well, they got at least 2 calls and all that as well. But he said there wasn't anything out there that he was reached out to, his representation was reached out to about, that he really felt was right. Kind of a better opportunity, at least given what they were kind of building at UNM and all that as well. So I think that's also probably a bit of a positive too, if you're a UNM fan, just to kind of hear that. Obviously, it's easy to say that you want to stay when things are going well, but certainly I think that's something that's encouraging.
All right, why don't you do a quick roundup, if you can, of the aftermath, or no. Let's stay on this topic. We'll talk a little bit about just everything that happened over the weekend. But the vibe at the press conference today, Jason Eck and Fernando Lovo both spoke. They did say, as you've reported, was there some urgency? Yeah, there was some urgency, right? Why don't you kind of go over some of the highlights of what was said or not said at that press conference?
I think that the main highlight in terms of what I'm seeing people are really reacting to on Twitter was he was asked the question, what kind of went into your decision to stay and all that. And certainly I think getting a new deal really helps. But he said, well, I like the people that I work with, and I think we can, we're kind of building something really good here. And, my family likes it here. And, moving's a pain in the ass too. So he popped that in, and that's getting a nice reaction.
Yeah, so some people want to kind of like, my favorite, yuck on everyone's yum about that. Like, oh, man, that doesn't sound great. Like, oh, that's the only reason he said. It's not a joke, man. He's got a family of 5 that just moved for the about 50th time.
He's got a family of 6, really, if you're including Kimberly.
It's a family of 6, yeah. So, it's not it's like, don't diminish what he's saying. Like, that's a big thing to do. Like,
granted, he's got 2 kids out of the house right now, in Jackson and Quentin. But it's still like, you got a young child too. Like, yeah. That's not easy.
Heck, I moved a quarter mile 2 years ago. Like, we were in the same neighborhood basically. And God, that ruined my whole summer. Yeah, like, I don't want to.
Moving sucks. Yeah, I moved across the country. That was an ordeal. So certainly that's getting a healthy reaction. But yeah, going back to what you point out too, he was Will Weber posed the question. how much of was there a sense of urgency to get this done? And Fernando said, yeah, there absolutely was. Like, we wanted to take care of this as soon as possible. I asked about the timeline a little bit too, and they said that really they've been working on this the last couple of weeks. Of course, it was it was signed before the San Diego State game, so like as you kind of pointed out yesterday, it wasn't like it's like, all right, regular season's over, good job, we'll give you this. Like they felt good about it even before they won the 9th game, and really played their way into obviously the 4-way tie for the 4-way tie. Didn't make the Mountain West Championship, but we're right there and all that. Just didn't have the metrics break their way. And yeah, I think those are. I asked a little bit too about some of the incentives and all that as well. If Lovo kind of said yeah, we it's a good thing for us. We want to pay out those bonuses. Like we want to take care of that. So they figured that was all good as well. So that's kind of the highlights I have. I'll have a story on this later, but yeah.
I will say that the increased bonuses and incentive structure, as it contractually reads, it leverages UNM quite a bit. Like if they replicate this season next year, UNM will be paying out quite a bit of money, and they're already paying quite a bit of money for a head coach, right? They're paying. He's the highest paid public employee in the state of New Mexico. He is getting paid more than Eric Olin, the Lovo men's basketball coach. That is something that hasn't always happened in this state. That alone is kind of not entirely unique. There have been times when the football coach has been a little bit above. It's never been this dramatically above the Lobo men's basketball coach. And they're both still in their first year, calendar year anyway. Eck just kind of completed his first season. What's he got, like another week, I guess, until he's actually completed his first year, a week or so. But this is an athletics department that needed football to get good, but it needs the fans to show up again next year, because they're extending themselves quite a bit. And while fundraising has been at a record high, while it was visibly apparent that more fans were coming, and yes, that means more concessions. I'm telling you that their ticket revenue, they hit by game 4, their goals and all that, but they were set so low that this needs they're investing because they're counting on it happening again, is what I guess I'm trying to get out in a really clumsy way. They're putting in a lot of money into this, and it is a risk for UNM to extend in 1 year's time a football coach and an entire staff, while also, they've brought on deputy athletic directors. They brought Ryan Berryman back. They've extended more chartering and kind of spent more money on the coaching search for basketball than they would have another first-time coach. They've spent a lot of money in the past year. Now they've made a little bit more money than in most years as well. But I'm telling you, they're extending themselves quite a bit. They're putting themselves at a little bit of risk if it all falls flat. I don't think it will. But the point being, this is a major investment that got signed off on by a lot of people that know that it is imperative for FBS football to be successful, and you better invest in it. And so that's why they did it. They made a pretty bold step by doing this, and I think it's a good sign. It's a good sign for UNM, good sign for the whole state, all that kind of stuff. But it is a good sign. College athletics is big business. It is huge business, in fact, and it is the untapped sort of part of the budget so far at both UNM and frankly even at NMSU, even though they went to a couple bowl games in recent years, and they started seeing that a little bit and experiencing how successful football can bring money into the program. Well, UNM is right now banking on it bringing in the kind of money that it hasn't seen before. So this is a big step for UNM. It really is.
I agree completely.
All right, let me get to some of these questions here. Richie, I had up here earlier when my internet went out. I can enjoy Lobo basketball before I watch the Giants damper my mood tonight. Richie. Lobo Leroy's in. I guess we're just going to have to get into the college football playoff at large. Just need a couple more Brett McMurphys in the polls.
Brett McMurphy was one of the 9 AP top 25 voters that had New Mexico in their poll. I think Dave Preston of oh no, grammar is getting a little funky there. I think Dave Preston had him at the high of 22. He's based out of DC. I don't know his organization. I did not. You can you can bash me if you want to, but I did not have them in my top 25.
I'll bash. I'll bash, I'll criticize. You also have been a big fan of North Texas all year and wouldn't vote them all year. So I don't know. I mean, you're kind of a hater with your ballot.
Big game. Big game for the North Texas this week, man. Fired up for that. I will be I'm very excited.
But not the nice green. Richie's saying, how many recruits, in your professional humble opinion, are going to sign on Wednesday for football? Take your time.
I don't know.
Well, that's why we the big buck, man. That's why this show's blowing up.
I'll go with like 15. Like, but I don't know like what the split's gonna be. The guys on, I'll go with like 15, maybe 20. But I don't know what the split's gonna be between National Signing Day and Early Signing Day. There are some guys that have been locked in that I believe will be signing on Wednesday for Early Signing Day. That is why we're talking about it. That's the start of the early signing period.
For those interested, Lovo legend Hunter Green on the bottom right of Grammar Vision, right there.
Grammar Vision. This is the best.
He was doing TV tonight.
Richie, that's what I would go with, but I don't have an awesome feel for that. That's what I will be looking at more tomorrow.
Richie's also saying that Eck has the opportunity to make UNM the new Boise of the conference. Possibly, yeah.
The new Boise is like, will there ever be another Boise? Like, in any sense?
Not. It's a different era, so probably not. But the point being, they can be the big dog, and that is true. They can be. I think UNLV puts in enough money, and Air Force is never going to be bad. In fact, this year they kind of salvaged a bad season into a not horrible kind of season, right? Like they were bad for a lot of the year, and they ended up not at the bottom, not even second to the bottom.
They didn't do quite what they did 2 years ago, where they were really bad. They were 1-7, and then they ripped off 4 straight, finished 5-7, and that really kind of cleaned it up. As for UNM, the new Boise, I don't think there'll ever be like another Boise. Like what Boise has out there is like an absolute, what Boise State is in terms of its football program is like an absolute unicorn in a lot of respects. But yeah, I don't think UNM is going to be picked 11th in this next Mountain West preseason poll. I don't think that's going to happen. And yeah, Eck talked a little bit about that today too. That was one thing that made this job so appealing, was the fact that there was going to be a split in the conference, that UNM could maybe be a big dog in the new look Mountain West. And I think we're all kind of expecting that at this point. Some things could change, but no, I do think that UNM is definitely on track to do quite well in this new look Mountain West.
Yeah, some people look at the
probably UNM and UNLV, right? Those are, that's pretty much that.
But there are plenty of people, for good reason, that look at the split of the two conferences and look at it as a really bad thing. There is an avenue where you could spin it as a really positive in football, because if you are the best team in any FBS conference, any group of 5, group of 6, whatever group number is going to be put on it, if you're the best team in your conference, you have a chance at that at large in the CFP, right? So it's not quite like basketball where there are 32 conferences and being the best in 24 of them doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You just get your auto berth. In football, being the best team in any conference at least kind of puts you in a position to be in position, right? As Fran Fraschilla said, they're in position to be in position, or however he says it. So, all right. Thrifty Gaming is in. Does this all affect how much resources go to basketball, or will basketball remain the same? It depends. Basketball's been sharing its resources with football for years and the rest of the department. Maybe basketball can kind of keep a little bit more of what they get now. I do think football will be far more self-sufficient. So, yeah, maybe basketball actually gets more out of all this. Getting football right helps the entire athletic department. Getting basketball right and getting basketball really good kind of still has a ceiling, a cap on it, right? You can only do so much. But getting football right in this modern landscape, that has potential to really help the entire department. So, yeah, I think this could affect Lovo basketball in a positive way. They get to eat more of what they kill is kind of a phrase that former athletic director used to say of Lovo basketball in the other way, that they don't get to eat everything they kill. They have to share it. They, being Lovo basketball, makes money, brings it into the family, and they all kind of split it. That was when Craig Neal was complaining at one point about not being able to spend more money on charters. Paul Krebs, I remember, used the quote, or I had a quote in the journal, that they don't get to eat everything they kill. But they are helping support the whole department. So, all right, Louis Torres is in. I think it's fair to say football is way more prioritized than basketball right now. I don't know what that means exactly. Like, it's prioritized in the sense that it had a lot farther to go to get right.
Yeah.
You can say that relative to how it's been at UNM for years, that's probably true, that basketball isn't getting the attention it used to get. But I don't think basketball's not getting attention at UNM. I think they lost a coach and an entire roster and spent over $1 million on a head coach that was a hot commodity in the coaching carousel. So, like, I think Lovo basketball is still getting plenty of attention. They had 12,000 fans at a Wednesday night pre-Thanksgiving game against Alabama State. Look around the country and see where 12,000 fans showed up that night, because there were neutral court games, and any home game wasn't getting 12,000. Those neutral court games in Vegas, they weren't getting 12,000 because they were neutral court games. Like, it's all relative. I know people still talk about these days where it was always 18,000 standing room only in the pit, which isn't true. It never had a completely sold out season of 18,000 standing room only. But point being, Lovo basketball used to get a lot more fans. It's still getting way more fans than any non-power conference program is getting. So Lovo basketball is still doing fine. I know some people are frustrated and cautious and anxious and nervous and all that good stuff, but it is still getting a lot more attention than most peer institutions. There goes Sean, because Lobo Leroy has a novel here. Lobo Leroy is in on X. Is there a reason for the crazy incentives to be relatively low? National Coach of the Year only worth $50,000, and Natty Chip only worth $350,000. I'd imagine if the Lobos actually made a run like that, the department would profit enough to throw him a lot more. I get that none of that will ever realistically happen, but then why go a little crazy with it?
Well, I do think you have a little bit of an answer on this. I do want to know, it was a whole heck of a lot lower for winning a national championship on the last contract. It was $100K, and that's usually like what it's been here in the past. And the National Coach of the Year only being $50K, that's unchanged from the previous contract. I don't know why that doesn't take a little bit more of a bump, but
yeah, that could take a bump.
The achievement, the actual on-field achievement kind of ones, like those all like were added and or they increased. So the Natty Chip went up a whole $250K.
Yeah, so the $350,000, for example, if they win a national championship, understand that like this is a guy at a school who needs a lot of butts in the seats next year, actual paid tickets too. Needs to increase revenue to afford the contract they already got. The Board of Regents is the fiduciary, has the fiduciary, fiduciary responsibility is the fiduciary. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, they have the responsibility to sign off on contracts like this, right?
Yeah.
UNM is already over leveraging itself a lot of people would say by doing what they're doing now. If he hits $350,000 bonus there, it will only be because he hits pretty much every other bonus in his contract too. Now, he won't double up on the Coach of the Year awards, but he will have probably hit his 9 wins or his 10 wins. He probably would have won his conference. He probably gets the bowl game bonus. He's going to get every bonus.
Yeah.
If he hits a National Coach of the Year kind of bonus, or a national championship bonus rather, that $350,000, we're not talking a $1.75 million contract. We're talking like probably $2.5 to $3 million. And while you say it's easy to say that if they made a national championship run, UNM would make that money back, is it? Is it that easy? Like, I mean, they don't get a bigger TV deal out of it.
Yeah.
They sold out a game and had over 30,000 in another game this year. They can't fit more people into it. They aren't going to raise prices in the middle of the year. So, like, there is a limit that a school that has a budget has to put on these things. You know, you can't just, because it'll never happen, say I'll give him $10 million, because it's never going to happen. If it's never going to happen, then don't put it in the contract and that kind of stuff. So I just think that $350,000, not only is it a pretty good number, you know, if he wins a national championship, I think that you're probably right. They're probably going to be okay. But like, I also think that he's gone if he wins a national championship.
They're going to be due. Yeah, they're going to be due like, if he wins the national championship next year, then they're due like the $4 million buyout and all that. We'll see how that shakes out. Or the second year, the $2 million buyout, and you get a little bit of that help there too.
And remember, coaches that leave before their contract is up that have to pay that buyout usually don't get all these bonuses. A lot of these bonuses are contingent on completing the contract year. So like
that was one weird thing with Lane Kiffin. They said they were going to pay him. Like that other LSU was going to pay him that $1 million bonus for I forget exactly what.
Yeah, LSU is basically going to go and pay his bonuses, right?
Which is so weird, like you never see that. So
all right, let's get another one in here.
Beard tuned up a little bit.
Got a lot more of the gray nowadays than I used to. Sean, young whippersnappers don't understand.
I can't even grow facial hair, so there you go.
Is Tomislav injured, or is he good after last game's injury? All I can tell you about Tomislav Buljan is that he is out there warming up. He's hopping with pink shoes on. That's the update I got. That's why this show's the #1 pregame webcast of Lobo basketball in the entire world right now. I think that's safe to say.
I think so.
$2 million for Eck would have sounded better. All right. And Stanley, you're not wrong. Like I thought it would get to $2 million, to be honest. I imagine at some point Fern went to the table to his agent and said, here's the money I can get to that I will get signed off on. And that agent, on behalf of Eck, who gave his agent, marching orders on what he wanted, was, okay, give me a percentage, obviously, because that's how it works. But I need at least this much percentage. Anything in that pool of money, this percentage has to go to the staff because I need to retain these guys. I need to make it attractive to the ones I got to replace or the ones I might have to make moves on. I want it to be attractive enough to get them here. Getting to $2 million, I think would have looked a lot better in a lot of ways, right? Would have been a magic kind of level that would have made the program just look like it was making a power move and all that. I have a feeling that it has to do with the assistant coach's salary pool, which, if I'm not mistaken, Sean, we don't know the actual number there yet, do we?
No, we don't. I asked about that today, and I did not get a specific there. The coaches are all on one. The assistants are all but one are all on 1-year deals, and their contract peers, I think they start on February. They started on February 1st. So I'm assuming they're all just going to – not assuming. I asked about that. Basically just a bunch of more –
Yeah, and I would just tell you
that, and all that.
While it is speculation, Stanley, I really think it has to do with the fact that Jason wanted to take care of his coaching staff. Yeah. I think he probably could have got to $2 million and not taken care of his coaching staff very much. But I think he wanted to take care of his coaching staff. New Mexico Lobos is in on X. How soon will we see any type of renovations? Legislative session's basically what we got to wait for at this point. That won't be until after the new year. So I think if the Legislative Finance Committee signs off on renovations for UNM and NMSU, which I think they will, we got to see how significant we're talking. Yeah. I think there will be money coming into both schools for renovations. But are we talking fix the concourse renovations or like totally tear down the east side, move the soccer stadium, and redo the east side of the stadium kind of renovations and major like tens of millions? Or are we just talking like you get $15 million, do what you can to fix the front gates and, make the concourse wider or something like that? $15 million isn't going to be a major renovation. It's going to have to get into the tens and tens of millions. Probably $100 million would be a nice little number to get a good renovation into that stadium. But to answer your question, we won't know until the legislative session, until we find out from the Legislative Finance Committee how much money they're willing to give, and it will be a both schools kind of thing. How much does locking Eck in through 2030 help UNM on the recruiting trail, especially given the track record at Idaho where he built a top 10 FCS recruiting class?
Well, locking Eck in through 2030, I think we'll all be really surprised if he's still here in 2030, frankly. I know that's I know it's a 5-year contract and all that as well. And he's got a buyout in the first year, $4 million, and the second year, $2 million. And then that buyout goes right down to $750K in the third year. I think we will be surprised if things continue the way they are, if he is going to be there for 2030. But I think it does help, right? In the sense that, yes, like he gave an answer about today. I'm forgetting exactly what he said in terms of the context of I have a new deal, and also we're going to be really getting back into recruiting in a bit here. They've been on it, but now this is where you really start to lean back in. So yeah, I think it's going to help. But I think we would all be pretty surprised if he was going to be here until 2040.
I'll say this about that too. I don't think like him coming back next year is really all that matters, right? I don't think the contract actually changes that a whole lot. Like I don't think anybody was recruiting based on he's only going to be here till 29.
Yeah.
So I don't think the contract probably helps with recruiting a whole lot other than the immediate, like the class that's happening right now that was already rolling pretty good. Yes. The thing is, guys can commit, and then once he leaves, they could leave if they want to, right? So I don't know. It doesn't hurt, but I don't know that I just don't know in this era that the coaching contract thing affects recruiting as much as it used to, because you can leave if a coach leaves. And as long as it's locked in for 1 year, that's all you care about before you hit the portal anyway nowadays. So 24 is a number.
24.
Concessions, bathrooms, seatings, etc. That's correct. I guess we're talking about renovations. Who's hands down the best recruit UNM has ready to rock?
Come back to me on that.
Like in 1 minute or in 5 minutes?
Let's go to another question, and let me think on this a little bit.
I've read a few things. Good. Good, Royce. I think we always need quality defensive backs.
Yeah, I see that. If you're like looking at like the 24/7 like website, I don't know if all the guys there are going to be locked in for the December signing day. I don't know if that's going to be their entire thing.
I'm in a seat transition. Real quick, I'm in a seat transition phase, just so you know what's going on over there.
Seat transition, siren. Yeah, I don't know if that's always going to be if they're all going to be December signing day guys or not. I think a good chunk of them will be, but we will see how that kind of plays out on that note too. I said this on a previous show, like this is kind of where I'm going to start getting back into recruiting and all that. And this is probably the most I will ever be recording on recruiting, because frankly, in the past, the audience hasn't always been there. And then also the fact that, Broncos staff in the past didn't go super crazy on the prep recruiting front in terms of what they were going with there. So, yeah. Transition?
No, transition's here. Now I'm just trying to get this headset ready for the anticipation of a guest who I don't see in the pit just yet, but we do have a guest coming up that will join us here shortly, one Fernando Lovo. And I'm trying to adjust grammar vision as well, so got a lot going on over here.
Wow.
A lot going on over here. All right, next question. Sorry.
Throw another one up.
Lovo said the stadium renovation in the next 3 or 4 years, possibly. All banking, if we stay successful, of course. There's some truth. Well, yes. First of all, he did say that. But so Fernando Lovo's big goal, he's been open about setting 2030 as sort of an unofficial target date of when he wants UNM athletics to be at a whatever, like a destination. It's not really a specific thing we can point to and say they are at this, but he wants 2030 to have this athletic department be as attractive as he can possibly get it. That includes renovations of a facility, which make it attractive or more comfortable, rather, for fans to just show up and spend money. The facilities aren't not on par with who they're competing with right now. The facilities are actually fine other than the stadium.
If anything, literally the facilities are better than what other Mountain West schools have. Not all of them, to be clear, but some other Mountain West schools, for sure, they're better.
That's right. And basketball as well. So, I think that to be as attractive as they can be by 2030, that means get some NIL money up or rev share money up, keep the fundraising record, setting fundraising year after year after year, kind of keep building on that. That's the important thing. Football stadium, rev share money, then the rest will come. Money for coaches and all that kind of stuff.
I will, to answer that recruiting question, I will go out of the guys that we're kind of who are the hands down best recruits UNM has ready to rock. I don't know who the hands down best recruit is, but I do think Messiah Mingo, wide receiver out of Vegas. He had a good bunch of P4 offers. I have actually haven't watched everybody's tape, but I did watch a little bit of his kind of huddle stuff, and I was like, I like what I'm seeing here. There's a good amount of excitement for Cade Mitchell, quarterback out of Beaverton as well. He does not kind of have the recruiting sheet, but he did a lot of really nice things at I'm blinking. Mountainside is his high school, I'm pretty sure. And then for a local kid, Jacob Maldonado. I think those would be kind of the guys I would shout out here. But looks like we're ready to go.
That's right. It's
We're ready to go.
It's imminent. We got a little bit. We got another minute. Maybe like 30-second countdown. We could do a countdown if you want.
We could do another countdown.
All right, Nick is in. Let's get this one out of the way real quick before. We got a lot of questions in that we may or may not be able to get to. But before Wisconsin retained Luke Fickell, Eck was mentioned on Badger fan wish list. Do you think his extension helps protect that? A little bit. I don't think the Luke Fickell situation probably needed. I don't think that changes anything.
No.
But look who we are joined with now.
Wow.
We are going to actually.
What's going on?
Here's what we'll do. We will point it a little more at Fern than me. I'm over here, guys, but we'll point it a little more at Fern than me. And Fern, let me actually turn you on there. Can you hear me?
Check.
Yeah, can you hear me? I can hear you.
I'm good. Sean, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All
You
right.
cooking dinner or what you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing, Sean?
What do you mean? What are you talking about? What do you mean what I'm doing?
Where are you?
Oh, I'm in my bedroom.
Oh, okay.
Flank steak?
Yeah. I haven't tried the recipe yet, just for the record, but I'll get there eventually.
You've been a little busy. That's understood.
2 weeks ago, we're talking flank steak, right? And Susie Reider was on, and yeah, you can flip that. That flips around if you want to flip that down. You can go to the other side. Flank steak was on the show discussion, and Fern said he's never really had flank steak that he cared for, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Frank told me last night that after I had him busy the last few days, he goes, "All right, am I done?" I said, "Yeah, you're good." He goes, "Okay, I'm going to go cook some flank steak." And I need to follow up with him to see how it turned out, but he looked happy this morning. So maybe he used your mom's recipe. I don't know. But
Frank's a good cook, generally. I've heard very good things about Frank's cooking.
I have as well.
So Fern, why don't we start off with this? Today, so for those that didn't see, I tweeted it earlier today. Look, year one was fine. You did fine, but today's year two, man. It's the first day of year two. What have you done?
Get to work, right? Yeah, no, it's I honestly, when I texted you yesterday, I honestly had forgot that today was even the first
crazy,
my
right?
first year anniversary or here. But no, it's been awesome. I mean, I appreciate what you put out today, but I'll say this, and I've said it before. I mean, I inherited a great team when I got here, and it all starts with your coaches and your student athletes, and we have really good coaches. Obviously, we've had a lot of turnover in some of our sports, but we've had a great year, and I'm super excited to start year two. And this time last year, I didn't have my family here, didn't know where I'd be living, where my kids would be going to school, and that's a huge part of settling in, and we absolutely love it here. My wife and my kids are enjoying it here, and I've almost convinced my parents to move here too, so I'm still working on that. That's my personal goal in year two.
All right, so let me ask you that about the parents, because Eric Owen's in-laws are here anyway. Yep. As it may sound silly or not that important, people that's a big commitment though, because that shows people are talking about buyouts and what's it going to take to keep so and so here.
Yeah,
you get your family here, you're even thinking that is sort of a gesture, not a gesture. I don't want to say that. It's a decision that I like it here. You could be here a little while. Nobody knows what the long term is for any of us. I get that, but if that's serious and you're wanting your parents to come out here, that's because you see yourself here for a little while.
Yeah, we love it here. I mean, I so much of what we do, is I try to make our department feel like this is a very family oriented department and bring them around and bring the kids around. We're not around a whole lot in our lives because we're so busy, but yeah, we love it here. Like I said, my family, my kids, they're so happy. Actually just got a call from my wife. My son graduated to the next level of swimming in whatever his swimming lesson. So we got big things happening here. It's all been good, right? So we really like it. And the commitment, we talked about it earlier in the press conference. Someone asked me about Jason's buyout, and that's what it is, right? You never say never. That's what Jason said, because you don't know what the future holds. But our families, all of our families are really happy, and we love it here in Albuquerque.
how big of a move was locking Jason up? Obviously, I do think it is somewhat noteworthy that it was done before the San Diego State game. There wasn't any, let's see if you're finishing first place or tied for first or anything like that. Like, this was something you guys wanted to get done, obviously. But how big of a move is it in terms of the overall athletic department and just like from an appearance standpoint, you guys not only retained a popular coach, but you guys put an investment into football that you put the investment in a year ago too, but this is a bigger investment. How much from just a visibility standpoint is that important in modern athletics to show that you're committed?
I think it's really important. I mean, it's always been important, but I think it's even more important now with all the conference realignment and all of that craziness that's going on. I said it today, football is the driving force behind that. And, Jason mentioned it after the game, that this just doesn't have to be a basketball school. In fact, it can't just be a basketball school. We've got to be successful in football, because for us to protect our brand, to help continue to grow and elevate Lovo athletics, that's what it's going to take. And so I do think it was really important, obviously, to get it done, but the perception and the optics of, hey, look what's going on in New Mexico. They had a great year, but this isn't just going to be a flash in the pan. This is going to be something that's, that we'll continue to build on, and we need to do that over these 3 to 5 years. It's so important.
Is it just me on again? It might just be me on again. I'm not sure, though. Let me text Grammar. Well, it's still going on my end, so I can't really replicate what Fern was about to say, but obviously good stuff from Fern on the note of getting this deal done and kind of the sense of urgency. And, I was the one that I really hope this is not going on there, Adam. We're just talking over each other. But I was the one that asked that buyout question in the sense that, like, that was something that I think when, there is talk of a new contract. Oh, wait.
Sean, we're back.
We're back?
Yeah.
Did the Wi-Fi go out again?
It did.
Oh, shit.
So anyway, we're back. So I don't know how much you guys got out of his last answer, but I'll move on and say this. I'm getting texts from Don and you telling me that only you're there. So I hope we're back on. We're getting the thumbs up. We got somebody watching near us. So, okay. Did Jason, I know Jason wanted to be here, but was there anything in the negotiations between you and his agent that was a sticking point in any way, or did it just run perfect?
Yeah, I don't think there was anything that was a sticking point. I think all of these conversations give you an opportunity to really evaluate where you're at currently and where you want to be. And so it was a great process. I obviously have a great relationship with Jason, but I do with his agent as well. We actually were colleagues when I was at the University of Texas as the chief of staff there in football. He was the chief of staff at West Virginia with Dana Holgerson. And so it's a really small industry, and just by chance, right, he happened to be Jason's agent. And so we had really great conversations, and it was clear to me that, Jason and his representation, they really wanted, to ensure that there was the appropriate level of investment. Our expectation is to win championships, and we were very open and transparent about that. So it was a great process and a healthy one, because like I said, it allows you to reflect and say, hey, look, we're doing great, but what else do we need to do to take it to the next level? So there was no pushback, and I thought it was a great process overall.
All right, so now I'm kind of adjusting here. I'm going to do this so I can read these comments a little more. And you can look at that if you want to, but you don't. It doesn't matter. This is high-tech stuff.
It is.
Wow. Sean loves calling it grammar vision. So
Grammar vision, man, undefeated.
Sometimes I just move this around by hand and show the stadium. That's grammar vision.
There we go.
So,
it is fun to watch him just fiddle with it and toy with it. He gets excited a little bit.
Sometimes my face gets a little scrunched up too. All right, I want to know what the reaction from your peers has been, because Jason Eck was a name, and when he pops up a little bit, there's still a little bit of a how is New Mexico going to keep a guy whose name is in that coaching carousel? What have your peers said about your ability to have found a way to keep Jason?
Yeah, they've all been really complimentary, really throughout the year. Obviously, with the success that we've had, and as we've continued to build on it, and even those in the conference that are departing members that have good relationships with a lot of those ADs, and had a great conversation with JD Wicker before the game, and he was super complimentary. of the work that Jason's done. And so, it was really good. The feedback was tremendous. I had heard from so many people that, how excited they were, obviously not for me, but really for this program, because, a lot of folks, New Mexico, it's no secret, our football program has been down the last, decade or so. And so for us to have success, to do it really on a national level, we were on CBS on Friday night, and a lot of people got a chance to see us. And then to follow that up with the news, it's been a really good reception. And it's really all a testament to Jason, because he's been just tremendous with what he's been able to do for this program.
I'm going to jump to this question because it pertains to something we were talking about earlier, but you're the guy that could answer it.
Yeah.
People are asking about renovations. What's next on the renovation front? My answer is being we really won't know until the legislative session, and then we can kind of see where you go from there, scale, I would think. But there will be renovations of some sort over the next several years. What do you know for sure is going to happen?
Yeah, I think what I can say with certainty is that, in this process that we've been going through with our design team, we've identified there's some really critical code-related infrastructure problems that we've got to address. Now, those may not be the most sexy of improvements,
but there's a start, right? That's what you got to do.
Yeah, and I said it before in the press conference earlier, we've got to make our games enjoyable for our fans to come to. And when they're waiting in line to use a restroom for an hour, or they're cramped in the rows and all of that stuff, the concourse, that makes it an impactful. That's not good, right? And so we're going to look at really addressing some of those code-related issues early. We do have some money that we got from the appropriation in the legislative session last session, and so we're going to use that early on. But we've got to finish the design first, and we've got to have a real pragmatic approach to our design in a phased process, so that we can really say, okay, with this amount of money, this is what we can do. And if we're able to either get it through private philanthropy or through the state with their help, here's what we can do next. But a lot of the early things that we're going to look at are things that, have really caused issues with entrance at the gates, the restrooms. I don't know if I told you this.
Some safety things.
Safety issues, things with them being so crowded. We're 300 restroom fixtures short in our stadium code, 300. And that's not an excuse. That's the reality. And that's why folks have to wait for a long time to use the restroom. I
would say that's the number one priority or number two priority.
Yep. Wow. Very good. Very good. So
that's
more to come on that. But that's kind of where we're looking at.
Are you looking at a process where you have dream scenario one, but then some fallbacks, or are you only coming up with one design scenario that you will kind of put forward? The designers that are and the architects that you have and the team you guys have working on this, is this here's what we're doing, it's only one plan, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work? Or are there sort of steps that you get all the infrastructure that you're talking about done that won't really affect the next phase? Are there levels to this that if funding gets cut off in 3 years, you'll still be able to have a project that doesn't look like it's half finished?
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? I told our design team early that we have to really look at this as a phased approach. One, that if we're going to do it and we get through only phase 2 or 3, that we have a much better stadium, but it doesn't look like we made a mistake, right, in terms of what we're doing. Now, I will say we do have some aspirational type of design things that we're working for that, I would say are more cosmetic in their approach versus fixing the infrastructure issues that we have, which is important too. We want it to look great.
In this era, man, it's got to look nice.
It does, yeah. So we're going to have a very much of a phased approach to where, if we can get phase 1 and 2 done, and we have to wait 2 or 3 years to get to 3 or 4, and then another, that it's going to look intentional. And folks are going to say, okay, I see what you're doing, and then I can understand what's coming next and how it's going to fit in.
All right, so since this is hypothetical, I'll ask one more, and then I'll kind of leave it at that, since we don't really have the design or the final dollar figures. Is there a scenario where the east side and the soccer field, the soccer stadium and track, that stuff gets relocated somewhere, and that whole thing can be parking lots, but also a renovated east side stadium? Yeah,
I will say at this point in the design phase, we haven't looked at relocating or repurposing the soccer field and track just yet. I will tell you that we've asked our designers to make sure that our field is still wide enough to play soccer on in University Stadium. And I'll just leave it at that. Because I think that's important for a few reasons there. But, we know that the east side is really deficient on a lot of things. There's no restrooms over there. There's no concessions. But we do have some space over there. So we're looking at, okay, how do we utilize that space and maximize what we have? But at this point, we haven't made any recommendations or any sort of movement towards relocating our track or soccer field.
All right. I want to ask you about football specifically.
Yep.
You 1 year ago today, well, I guess you started like on the 2nd, or I don't know what day your press conference was, but you get a cherry blazer about a year ago at this time, and almost 1 calendar year later, we see that cherry blazer sprinting out onto the field. We got the hood, we got the sprint, we got the you and Ryan Berryman. Just like I told you guys were playing it so cool, just kind of watching from the other side of the field, looking so cool. And once that moment happened where it was incomplete and the Lobos won in double overtime, like you guys hugged each other like you guys were Jim Valvano running around on the pit floor, and you guys ran out onto that field. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you to sort of tell us about that moment.
Yeah, I've always been one that's really worn my emotions on my sleeve. And in fact, I'll send you some videos, Grammer, of my wife pointed this out to me, that I've been known to kind of raise my hands up in the air and run out on the field. I did it after we won the national championship at Florida. Urban actually used to always, bust me up about this. He goes, we win the national championship, and all of a sudden I see this student manager running out there with his hands above his head. What are you doing? I said, Coach,
you were the first one out.
I'm pretty sure, honestly, if I wasn't the first, I was probably the second. I'll send you the video. It's you'll get a laugh out of it. But no, I pour my heart and soul into this, and I love our coaches. I love our student athletes. But really, honestly, what made me the most emotional of anything was when I was looking at that stadium and I saw our community. It reminded me of the Pit when we were playing UNLV last year when we clinched the championship. No matter who you are, where you're from, what you believe in, everybody was a Lovo that day. And I saw people just pouring their heart into the game and cheering. And when it all culminated with a win, honestly, my emotions got the best of me. And, love Ryan. He's been great to get him back. And, we were having a good conversation, but we lost it. And then I honestly kind of blacked out there for a moment. And then the emotion really hit me and I kind of fell down to a knee. So I'm sure that'll live on the Twitter or the X-verse for a long time. It'll never go away, but just really emotional moment for me.
I did on my little bullet pointed, and as I noted, I'm big on the bulleted tweets. But I did leave off that one of the big things you did in your first year was get Ryan back here.
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan's a popular guy, but you got him back here. So
yeah, it was awesome.
All right. Let's kind of wrap up with this. I can get to a couple of these if they're about you, but we'll also let you get back to it because I know this has been a big day for you. And you probably have some people around here that you got to see. You got Eck will leave for Wisconsin. Could be. We'll see. I'm glad that the contract came through.
Hey,
okay.
my man Steve he sent me a message on X. I got you, Steve. I'm listening to you, big dog.
And I want to ask this about this. Somebody asked earlier, why couldn't you get to $2 million? I don't know what the specifics were. $2 million seems like it could have been a nice, just sounding commitment number. But when you guys will release the coaching salary pool at some point, we'll see all those contracts. It's a state university.
Yeah, sure.
But Jason wanted his staff taken care of too, though, right? And people kind of need to know that. Like, he could have just taken whatever number you could get to. Jason could have said, okay, I want all that.
Yeah.
But he wanted to make sure some of that number went to keep his staff.
Yeah, for sure. And we talked to you, asked, was there any roadblocks in the conversation? And really, when I said no, there really wasn't. And the fact that we were able to have the conversation, obviously we needed to take care of Jason and his compensation, but it was really a holistic view at it. We've got our great coaches and our support staff that are just as much responsible for the success as anyone. And so we wanted to take care of them. And now we have to make sure that we can keep our players around as well, So it was really a holistic view at it. And it was very productive to have those conversations because that's important.
Is Zach predicting a win tonight? I'm going to go ahead and say yes tonight. I'll predict it for him. I think tonight he would predict a win. It was pretty cool that Eck predicted a win last week when they were down 15 still. Love Sean's recruiting news.
Oh, I like Josh. Imagine the irony of being under construction. All of your tweets will have to have
so
on it.
Sean can vouch for this. when I put out the final standings graphic, I tweeted over the weekend, I put a little graphic at the final standings. I was going to put an asterisk that said season-long renovations at UNM. Like, it was a season rebuild, right? They were building a program. So
Yeah.
I was going to say there were some renovations
That's
for
funny.
UNM football.
Good on you, Josh. That's a good one there.
Grammar Vision is all sick. Money shot, get Fern good side. Oh, got to get your good side. Do you have a good side?
I don't.
You don't.
Believe me, I wasn't blessed with a good side.
All right. Have you decided for an intro song yet?
Oh, man. I feel like it needs to be some sort of like slow, like if someone slowed that video down and like, what's the song from the Titanic?
Oh,
Celine Dion.
Yeah, the Celine Dion song. And
I
then
Will Always Love You. Like,
no, that's
no,
from The Bodyguard.
Yeah.
oh my bad.
Sean, don't put a different song title into our head.
Oh.
All right, here we go. Please ask Lovo, can we expect some improvement to University Stadium before next season?
Yeah, we'll have some improvements at the scale of those. We'll see. Obviously, if we're going to do something significant, we need to have it designed appropriately, and so design takes time. And back to the question about how we're going to do this in phases. The goal is for us to have a plan in place where we can be under construction during the season and still host games. It may inconvenience our fans a little bit by limiting a gate or whatever else it might be, but we're not going to let just time pass us by here. If we've got a design we feel good about, we've got the money, we're going to rock and roll. So we need to show progress, right? There needs to be shovels and hard hats around there, and that's our goal to get started as soon as possible.
Greg Lujan loves your field storm. We got somebody else here asking, can we get a turquoise field? Grammar does have dad jokes. Wife loves the Gator story. What else we got here? Anything here? Hey, Fern, we got Richie in. Hey,
I need to go to Red River. I haven't been to Red River.
Have you checked out Red River yet?
I haven't, no.
Here we go.
Oh,
this
Amber.
is the mother. Do you know Amber? Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Amber. You're the best.
This is a mother. I shouldn't just leave it at that. The mother of a Lovo student athlete, great softball player. So anyway, thanks for being AD and just sending you some love. It's awesome that an AD knows the athletes and their families. Next up, softball.
Can't wait. I'm ready to go.
I owe not only Amber and her daughter and Nicole and the softball team some coverage that I didn't give them last year when I said I would. So I owe some softball love coming up. All right, we are going to let Fern get going here. Let's see. We're at the bottom here. Are any of these others for you? Or are they getting rings? Do we know that yet? I think I'll say I bet they are.
Yeah, we'll get rings. My mindset's been like any time in my past you've gone to a bowl game, I think it warrants getting a bowl ring. That's some of my favorite memories is looking and seeing all the bowl rings that we were able to get. So for sure, we're gonna make sure they're taken care of.
All right. Well, Jonathan's helping you out here and saying let's go ahead and bulldoze the track. Probably won't get rid of track. I think that's been a pretty successful program here, but
all good ideas.
Do we lead attendance up next year? Do we lead attendance up?
Oh, how do we get attendance up next year? Maybe
probably how do we get? Yeah.
Well, I think it starts with we got to do a good job on the administrative side, making sure that we're communicating early and often about our season ticket renewals and new season ticket sales. I thought we went out a little bit later than I would have liked to last year, just given all the transition. Again, one of the benefits of continuity, especially after success, is you can really leverage that, to increase your season ticket base. If we can get our season ticket base to grow, to double, that'd be a huge win for us. We know we're still going to have to do well in single game tickets, but we gotta do a good job on our side, and we'll be communicating often. And the good thing for us is because our attendance was up so much this year, we actually got new fans to come. And so we now have their email addresses and others that we can target them and say, hey, you came, you had a good time, come on back, come on and enjoy the Lobos. So excited to see that.
I will point this out, and we're going to let Fern go. I know you weren't saying get rid of track, and I think Fern knows that too. That's me saying it. He knows it's physically the track where it is. For sure. Was the comment. So got a couple people thanking you for coming on, Fern. I will thank you as well. Got that one already in. But Fern, thank you. We got 18 minutes before tip-off tonight. Opponent being what it is, people still have a chance to come watch some Lovo basketball tonight, and then a really big one on Saturday.
Huge one, yeah. We gotta have this pit rocking on Saturday. We have a Cyber Monday deal out right now for 50% off on tickets, and we felt it. We needed every bit of it against Alabama State. And, if there's any testament, look at the last week. Our fans willed us to victory against Alabama State when we were struggling a little bit. And our fans willed us to victory against San Diego State on Friday. So, Lovo Nation, come out, be loud. Like Jason says, don't cross the line, but go right up to it. So please do that. Come cheer on our basketball team, and excited to see them play a big time. Might be one of the best home
I think it might be the best.
in the Mountain West.
Santa Clara is really good this year. Yeah.
I mean, they're right outside Quad 1, so we'll need all of you.
More than one person has said Friday night at University Stadium was like the Pit outdoors.
Oh, really?
And the sound of 3 straight pre-snap penalties in overtime, that sound was real. Yeah. And
that's awesome.
But that's this place too,
for sure.
But it can be both places, maybe.
No doubt.
We'll see, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Fern, thanks, man.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you, guys. See you. Have a great night.
Thank you.
See you, Sean.
All right, guys. That was Fern. We'll go to Grammar Vision, flip around here to see the team captains in center court.
Man, I love Grammar Vision.
Little Grammar Vision. Like I can also start pointing if you want. There's the team captains right there.
Thanks to Fern again for coming on. That was great.
Yeah, so a little inside baseball here. There was a mustard catastrophe last week at this area here, and I can smell the mustard still. Can you guys still smell the mustard around here from last week?
What do you mean a mustard catastrophe?
Can you guys still smell the mustard from around here?
How much mustard could what do you mean a mustard catastrophe?
The nachos and mustard? There was the
mustard nachos?
But before I got here, somebody had run into somebody on the steps and everything around here. And as I'm sitting here, you can still see the cheese on one of the cords underneath the table here.
Ew.
But there's a strong mustard smell around here. But anyway, it's the Pit. Come watch some basketball. Sean, anything you want to wrap up on, guys? I know we didn't get to all your questions.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate you guys for taking part in that and getting Fern on the day they announced the contract extension. They announced it yesterday, but the day of the presser and all that was pretty cool. I know Sean's going to have a lot of coverage of that, or some more coverage of that in the paper this week and online, abqjournal.com. Sean, anything you want to wrap up with?
Thanks again for everybody for tuning in. As always, producing the show. Thanks to Fern once again for coming on. That was great. Obviously, regular season is over, but still a lot of stuff to come. As you mentioned, I'll have that story today for tomorrow. Excuse me. On press conference today, all Mountain West teams will be out at noon tomorrow. I am expecting a nice chunk of Lobos, more than the last couple of years, to end up on those lists. So we will go from there. I have some reporting on that. Obviously, recruiting, signing day, early signing days on Wednesday, and we already right before the show I tweeted out one Randolph Kapai announced his intentions to enter the portal. Randolph does not have any eligibility left. He would have to go try and get a year back from his time in Nebraska to really make that work. So we'll see what happens there. But plenty more for us to be working on, and we'll have a bunch more content out throughout the week. And then obviously Sunday's a big day. That is when we find out what bowl UNM will be playing in. So yeah, we'll get to it.
All right, I just checked. Starting lineups have not been uploaded just yet. I am looking out there right now as they're warming up, and I'm not sure. Oh, there he is. Nope.
No?
I do not see Tomislav out there right now. So I have not been told anything about Tomislav Buljan, but there he is. Okay, he's out there warming up. Sorry.
Thanks to everybody, too, that let me hijack Grammar's usual pregame show. So
this is good stuff, man. I need a Madden clicker.
Yes.
Like just this, and then bam, and then he goes this way.
We need to make that work. We need to figure that out. That would be so good.
All right, guys. Next one of these won't be for a while. There's no presser tomorrow, so there's no Tuesday weekly show tomorrow. Yeah. I will have a pregame show Saturday, but I think Sean's probably going to be able to rest the vocal cords for some blueberry eating soon.
Okay.
Should have talked to Fern. Should have talked to Fern about that while he was here, but
we should try and do a show next week just because we'll know what bowl UNM's going to be in, and we can chat about that a little bit.
Little Jackson Eck story love for you there, Sean.
Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate you. Yes.
The only update I can tell you is he's out there warming up on Tomislav Buljan. So that's all I know. I have not been told otherwise. I'm going to need UNLV to give Boise a punch in the mouth in the form of a win on the way out.
I think a good deal of people are rooting for UNLV in this one. Maddox Madsen will be playing that game. That was announced.
Yep.
He'll be starting.
So, sorry, I did mention that, but that's here. No show tomorrow, but we'll keep you guys updated.
We'll
John,
figure something out.
appreciate it. Got a
Grammar, thank you.
basketball game starting in 12 minutes and 26 seconds to tip off. Thank you guys for being here. John, thank you.
Thank you.